$150 Amazon.com gift card giveaway at 1,000 subs. Hit that button.
Serious. Redditors who have been clinically dead and then revived resuscitated. What did dying feel like? How it changed your life? Did you see anything while passed on? I woke up during surgery once and drowned in my own blood. I was clinically dead for about 3 minutes. I didn't hear anything. When I woke up I was totally unaware that anything had happened. To me everything had gone as planned and I had just woke up as planned. If it wasn't for the extra nurses doctors around me I'd have never known anything had gone wrong. This is why I don't believe in heaven or hell. When we die, we simply cease to be. I fell 3 stories back on the 80s. Broke my sternum. Most of ribs on my right side. My right arm. Femur where the hip joint is and fractured my pelvis in many places. I was alert while the fire department cut the fence down so the ambulance could get me out of the courtyard I was in. Also most of the ambulance ride. I knew I was in deep shit when the paramedic told the driver that I was code unknown and to redirect to another hospital. I remember the paramedic trying to keep her balance while she was pulling stuff out of the upper cabinets because the ambulance was swaying real hard now. Everything became really peaceful. I was now observing everything from a different angle, as if I was above and to the right of myself. I came to while a surgeon was sewing my left eyelid back on, as it was partially torn off when I hit something on the way down. He asked me how I felt, and seemed very curious if I saw anything. I died in the ambulance that day. Shock is hell of a thing. It changed my life in so many ways. I became much more happy. I don't sweat the small stuff as much. It also somehow made me more confident. My mom had a miscarriage once and lost a lot of blood. She was dead for several minutes. She said she saw 2 paths. One with me and my brother crying and sad. The other with us playing happily. She said she went towards the one where we were happy and was resuscitated. I wasn't clinically dead, but I had some weird visions caused by a strong state of stress and shock. Years ago as a dumbass teen I crashed into the guardrail while driving my boyfriend's scooter. I was in shock and I stood up panicking all covered in blood and abrasions. I was afraid my BF got hurt because of me and that was all I could think of. I fainted on the spot. I fainted other times in my life and this was different from them all. While unconscious, I had the most beautiful dream ever. I was lying on the bottom of a warm water pool and a lady was floating right above me. I don't remember what she was saying, but she was talking to me and her words gave me a sense of peace and tranquility. Above her, on the surface, there were people walking on the water. Waking up felt even less real than the dream itself. In a split second every single inch of my body, that felt so good a minute before, was hurting. BTW. My BF was okay. He managed to jump off before the crash. I was dead for 6 minutes. I was laying on the gurney and I was getting colder. Somewhere my body started warming up and everything became really calm and peaceful. I was not longer in pain. All the noise from it just went away. It was really enjoyable. I was thinking about my daughter and I was remembering all the things we had done. Slowly it was just black and nothing. There was no knowledge of anything. I explain it as it was like before I was born. Then the worst thing in the world is being revived. I starting hearing loud noises. I felt this massive pain. Then there was the nastiest stench ever. The smell was like every dead animal had crawled in my nose. The smell was so bad I started vomiting. I remember the DRs turning me on my side and watching my vomit spray on a nurse. Dying was the most pleasant thing I have ever experienced and being revived the worst. Not really sure what happened and it still freaks me out to this day. My daughter was 4 and developed pneumonia. Her breathing would stop in her sleep so we took her into the emergency room. She was there for a total of 5 days. For the first 3 days her health kept deteriorating. And on the 3rd day my girlfriend got a call that her mother had collapsed and was taken to the hospital. She was without oxygen for 20 minutes and was declared brain dead. That night my daughter woke up and asked about grandma. No one had said anything to her or in the room with her. We asked her what did she mean. She told us that grandma came to her in a dream and said it's not your time yet. I'll go for you. Immediately the next day she was almost 100% better. I think about death a lot. Like, an insane, worrying amount. I cry about it a lot too. I'm terrified to die. I'm terrified of what comes after. And I'm terrified of losing people I love. This thread has actually made me feel a bit better about it. So thank you OP. I lost my mom last year and I remember her telling me when I was little, because I would say it first, that she was scared to die. I'm glad to know that it isn't as bad as we both thought. Anaphylaxis. Wasn't breathing. I considered all the hallucinations I experienced likely due to hypoxic episode until I told my mom what I saw. A middle-aged man who wasn't in scrubs standing still at the end of my bed while all staff were running around and doing their business. I was having a non-verbal conversation with him and he was telling me to calm down. Focus on breathing. He wore a tropical style buttoned-down shirt, one of those old-school newsboys hats, and had a very pleasant demeanor. Mom showed me a photo of my grandpa that I never had seen before, and it was the guy at the foot of my bed, and he died before I was even born. Friend of mine described it as deeply relaxing and that she could feel herself drifting away, but was brought back just as she was ready to leave. After that, she embraced life and death. She said she doesn't fear death anymore since it was so relaxing to experience. I nearly choked to death once, while alone in my apartment. Let me tell you, death chemicals are amazing. I can remember everything going blue and black as I laid on the floor, and it's like the beautiful voice started going, "This isn't that bad. Things could be worse. You're not on fire or anything." I was days away from my big wedding. I had a giant, loving family. None of that was on my mind. Just this calming, slightly numbing "this is okay" momentum. It was then I realized I could see my front door from where I was, which meant when my roommate came home, she'd find my corpse. So I'm like, okay, maybe I can move myself to somewhere so she only sees my feet. Maybe I can hide. I rolled over just slightly and was too weak to hold myself up, so I dropped back down onto the floor and dislodged the obstruction and could breathe again. I honestly think I just laid there on the floor for another half hour because almost dying was exhausting. Overdosed. Flatlined. Didn't see a damn thing. When they hit me with Narcan, I woke up really mad, ripping IVs out of my arms, cursing out the poor, amazing staff who saved my life. Good times 6 years ago now with all that shit behind me luckily. I know 3 people that have been clinically dead and have come back. What they described is something much different than what people are talking about here. They all said, if you paraphrase, that it feels as if you're passing out. Someone compared it to ODing on whippets, nitrous oxide, a feeling of your conscience slowly getting focused into one point in the exact middle of your head, while your limbs lose feeling in a tingling, pleasant way, and then you lose consciousness. One girl said that when she came back into conscience she was hallucinating because she had no idea what was going on and that she started dreaming of something safe, that is her mother hugging her in a warm bed.
$150 Amazon.com gift card giveaway at 1,000 subs. Hit that button.